Telosive Tech Podcast, ladies and gentlemen. We are officially in Apple event season, which is in May now.
Which is awkward, late, just like my puberty.
Early. You know, Randy. Oh, God.
Go ahead.
How many more takes do we have to do?
Tell me. How have I inspired you? Are we doing more Mitch McConnell?
Well, I want to try... I got this idea because there's a lot of podcasts out there. So I'm looking for a way to separate our podcast to make it a bit different from all the others out there. Okay. So I got this idea that I don't think I've seen anyone else do. We're going to do a trivia segment on the Tech Podcast. I know. This is weird. It's a unique idea that no one else has thought of.
Ever.
But the main question... and it's a trick question because there's not really an answer. But will the event be filmed on an iPad? Trivia question. We'll see who's right.
I hit the button. No.
How?
It won't.
How have I inspired you to do this segment?
You're trying something else.
Oh yeah. Okay. Let's try it. I will say. Oh, it's definitely going to be filmed on a Apple device. They've already did the spooky season thing, so that's the new standard. 100%.
Yeah. A
product that runs some type of iOS or iPad OS. No, I'm going to say no.
Okay.
I'm not confident hardware is going to take that big of a leap into RAW or log, specifically log video on an iPad. I don't know why, because I think the bigger the screen, the better the monitor for playback. I would like that. Mm-hmm. I would love that. But iPads have always been like a beat or two behind iPhones when it comes to camera and computational photography and videography. So, no. I don't think it's going to be on iPad. I think it'll be on an iPad or an iPhone 15 Pro or Pro Max again. But I think this whole sucker will be filmed and all that on, or edited on iPad using some special AI M4 silicon. Final answer.
AI editing.
Take that, Sora, stupid. Take that. What do you think, Mike?
How about you, Mike? What's your guess?
I feel like I hit the button first and I already gave my answer. But
no.
I think they're just going to use their regular cameras that they're going to use. I don't think they're going to try to film it with an iPad. That doesn't really make sense to me.
What is the regular camera if the last one was on iPhone?
What they used before? A Blackmagic?
Red, maybe?
Probably some IMAX film camera.
They'll use that then. They gotta get all the dynamic shots. Probably, sure. Yeah. That was the big wow factor for the iPhones, right? Is that they're filming an iPhone event with an iPhone. So,
but
it was a Mac event.
It was a Mac event.
Oh,
yeah.
Well, then even still, they filmed a Mac event with the iPhone. It was
shot on Mac.
It's been so long at this point. It's been forever since an event has occurred. So excuse my misconception of it. But
all right.
No, I think it's just going to be a regular camera. I don't think it's going to be anything special for this iPad event per se. Exactly. But I do think, however, that there should be, or I would like to think that we get a new iPhone color because we're a little late on a new iPhone color. So I think that will probably be the one thing that is at least the big exclamation mark for me, even though I don't really care about anything probably that's going to be announced in this event. I'm perfectly content with my iPad and my phone. So you better throw some punches, or I guess I'll just sit here and enjoy the animations.
So I think I feel he's right in his hoping that this is going to be an iPhone color, because this feels like a hardware event, and I feel like they're clearing the way of all hardware events pre-iPhone to make way for an action-packed dub. I don't know. There's no reason to feel this way, but besides spring or summer watch bands, I wholeheartedly I wholeheartedly feel like there will be like something to invigorate iPhone 15 Pro and maybe even 15 again with their colors. Because this whole nano chip thing, M4 and AI, this, that, and the other, I'm starting to feel, let's fast forward to the end of the year, I'm starting to feel that like iPhone 16 Pro specifically is going to be a big upgrade in computing, processing, and rendering, and all that. I genuinely feel it might be overkill, but for all the right reasons, and because of that, it feels a little more important to at least do another color thing for iPhone 15 or 15 Pro, because if they don't do this big advancement in computing, whatever, for 16 Pro, I'll say right now, I don't care how great the ultra wide 48 megapixel, blah, blah, blah. No one should upgrade to the 16 the way no one should have upgraded to the 14 Pro. That's my opinion.
Interesting. I love that this is clearly an iPad-focused event, and both of you are super excited for a new iPhone.
Not super excited. I just think it's necessary for the trajectory of 2024.
Last week you sounded pretty excited, Randy. You were like,
if it's red. If it's a red Pro. It's a red Pro.
You're like, I'm not excited, but I'm definitely going to buy it.
If it's not a red Pro, I'm taking off this belt. I'm throwing it over my... I'm beating my dog?
Oh my gosh.
Oh my god.
Come here,
You went down a... There's like...
Somehow you made that way worse
there was
than it should
a
have been.
clearly right path and wrong path, and you went down the wrong path, but then forked off to another wrong path on the wrong path. Anyways.
Mike just described Anakin Skywalker. Wow.
You turn her against me.
What would be interesting for me is if they announced some new iPad colors that were somehow more exciting, even though that the 2 years ago colors that they unveiled were a little bit more...
I think they kind of have to.
Striking?
I think this... I could be wrong. I think this will be a complete iPad lineup overhaul. Like, new Pros, new Airs.
Wow, that's
maybe a new Mini.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess maybe the only one that might not change is the iPad 10, but even that's rocking a pretty old chip. Like, they haven't touched any of these iPads in over 500 days.
Do you guys think
It's
some of
been
these
a long
iPads
time.
need to be killed off in terms of like whatever they are?
Yes.
Like iPad Air or iPad regular, it seems like they're overlapping a little bit. And the Mini
Kill it.
is like great for size, but since Apple doesn't like small devices anymore, even though it's a big device in terms compared to like an iPhone, doesn't make sense to keep Mini around. We only want big iPads, so keep the Pros, keep the Airs, and then regular iPad and iPad Mini just go out to the back of the barn.
Well,
what's behind the barn, Mike?
Old McDonald. Old
Your
McDonald's
dog, apparently.
behind. Oh my gosh.
Chico.
Oh my god. Yeah, see, now it's a running theme in the podcast. I can't cut it out. Shoot.
Just like the fridge. And by the way, the fridge is great.
Job security.
Thanks for asking.
My lines aren't getting cut this time.
Job security. You're not working for Elon this week. All right. So, as a consumer, I never want the iPad mini to go away. It is the best iPad. Keep it in there. Financially speaking, I hate that you're onto something there.
Me too.
That there might be some sales figures indicating that the mini isn't as popular as the other models. I'm fairly confident like 90% of the iPads selling are the budget ones.
Yeah.
And that's why Apple has diversified with, they still have the iPad 9 in there with the iPad 10. They're probably having a hard time letting go of the 9 because it sells so well, even though it sucks and I hate it and it's very dated. They're like, we got to keep selling that because everybody uses it as a cash register. So,
That's
keep
true.
selling the iPad 9. They're everywhere. There's so many of those cheap basic iPads that's just like, oh yeah, get it for grandma, get it as a photo frame. This is the FaceTime machine, and it does nothing but
This is how I'm supposed to
degrade its
tip
battery.
15 to 25%.
That's most of my interaction with iPadOS.
Yes, is
choose your
asking,
tip.
is hitting no thank you.
Yeah. Custom 0.
No thank you.
I haven't gotten my food yet. Why would I tip? Anyway.
Thank you.
I want the iPad 10 to become the cash register. Can our cash registers at least have USB-C? I mean, there's a mandate.
What am I
They
tipping
at
you
least
for?
gotta
The
stop
promise
selling
of
it.
my food later? This sounds like Rabbit R1 or AI pin, whatever.
I mean, minimum wage is $20 an hour here now. Like,
Whoa! I should go back to California.
I'm thinking about retiring and just working.
Yeah. I'm thinking about working at a Chick-fil-A. No Chick-fil-A sauce? You know that meme? Have you seen that one? Where she
I'm
goes,
not that hip.
It's going to
No,
be me at
Chick-fil-A.
the Apple store when someone says, no, I don't need an iPad. I don't need a USB-C port. It's me.
no,
No,
Apple
you want
Pencil?
an iPhone 15. I think I want a 14.
Boom. Boom. Yeah.
Oh, my God.
I love you guys.
Yeah.
I get all my stupid memes out for the week. Just get it out of my system.
I like you, too.
Ah!
Wow, friend zoned.
No, there has been talk, just to be clear, there
just
has
got
been talk for a
co-hosted.
while.
Go.
There's been talk for a while that they're going to change the refresh rate direction of the iPad mini to alleviate the
Wobble.
Jellygate
Oh, God.
complaints. Because I think that's the only reason people complained about it, is because on the Mini 5 it was going one way, and then on the Mini 6 they changed it to the other way that was more landscape, so it made the jelly scroll slightly more noticeable. When I reviewed it, I couldn't really tell.
I can't.
But someone found it and said, I don't like it because when I scroll really fast, it looks like the text is sideways. And I'm like,
Stupid. I like everything
just- yeah,
italicized. I drink Dr. Pepper Mini so I can feel like a bigger person.
oh.
Good for you, Randy. Good for you.
Mike, is that why you used the iPad mini?
It's what he's used to holding.
No.
To feel bigger?
Oh, I don't. The one time we're talking about iPads, I don't have it in the room.
Ha!
But it is the best color one. And it's the best one to hold and store wherever I need to store it. It's great.
Yeah, Mike is used to holding minis.
Yes, it's not about it. It's the fact that I use it for many different tasks, Randy. How many tasks are you using your regular iPad for?
Procreate, YouTube Studio, Over / GoDaddy, YouTube, regular YouTube, texting, notes. I use it for FaceTime.
I love that we're still calling it over.
It's always Twitter and it's always over. Wait.
It's never over.
Randy,
Never.
it's over.
It's over. It's over. Yeah.
Actually, the name Over is the perfect thing to rebrand to another name, because then you can say it's
It's over.
forever. That joke only works when you rebrand. Yeah, I don't use my iPad for much, especially because they sold it to
Yeah.
someone who lives in another city.
Kind of hard to use it at that point.
iPad Mini is
I love the
still the
fact-
best iPad, by
Go
the
ahead.
way.
It is.
Yeah, I agree.
It is.
But I love the fact that on the iPad Air landing page, which hasn't changed since the year 1846, but it says 5 gorgeous colors, and they're the worst colors I've ever seen.
1846.
They're just like so muted.
Is that before the war?
Yeah. The Civil War started because of iPadOS, actually.
Never
Or
mind what
nothing,
history
whatever.
tells you guys.
Don't believe those books.
Don't believe it.
Wow,
Oh,
Steve
man.
Jobs was a lot more impactful than I remember.
Do you know my house is older than Steve Jobs?
I'm pretty sure many people's houses are older than Steve Jobs. It's not
His
it's
house
not
is Mitch
impressive.
I
McConnell.
don't know. It might be older than that. I don't know. It's a very old house. But I think that the Apple Pencil is also due for a refresh. I'm curious if you guys have wish lists / feature requests for another Apple Pencil, which they don't come out very often.
I have one and only one request. Wow, Mike.
Black.
No, not even color. I'll live with the white. Wait. Anyway, I don't.
Where's
What are you
the
gonna do?
counter?
Clip that out
Hold
of
on.
context?
It doesn't need to be. This whole podcast has been in context and out of context simultaneously.
And yet,
That's what
Mike
the
always
title will
finds a
be.
way to just keep coming back. I keep thinking he's he likes the pain.
It's gonna
Yes,
say
'cause
Drew,
I'm a
Mike, and
masochist.
Randy, but out of context, and it's just the whole episode.
So, one request: no more accidental bumps on the pencil that causes it to switch to the eraser. I promise you, I'm not trying to go to the eraser. Stop thinking I want to go to the eraser. I don't.
Okay. Accidental bumps. Would a haptic engine help with that?
That's a good question. That's annoying. Like if it feels like a mechanical, like I don't.
Ooh.
I just think where it's the tapping is, I think it's flawed because that's where I rest my index finger.
You
Maybe
rest your index finger like this? So there's the flat edge right there.
Yeah,
I rest my thumb on it.
I rest my index finger on. Actually, I got iPad off screen. I rest
Oh
it.
my god.
Yep, it's right here.
We all hold pencils differently. I'm just now
Drew
discovering
holds
that.
it in his ear.
Do you
use
sit
it.
or stand when you wipe? I 100%.
When I swipe, I'm definitely sitting.
Wipe to unlock.
So, it's auto exposing here. Interesting.
Oh, aren't you glad you switched to that nice camera?
I'm on iPhone 15 now, Drew. Shush. Okay, and you'll see this in OBS. So I'm centered still. As you guys can
great.
see right there is the index, and I rest. Yeah, that's the most comfortable. If I try it your way, Mike. I don't put it on my thumb at all. Oh, that's uncomfortable. Maybe on the middle finger, maybe, but I like it. I like my index finger controlling it like chopsticks, right on the top. Boom. There you go. I just switched it to iPhone. Take that, Drew.
All right. Are you going to switch it back?
Yeah, I'm already back.
Oh, okay.
How do you hold
Sorry,
it?
guys. Discord. They all I saw was me doing this the whole time. So
How do you hold this pencil?
sell me this pencil.
Do
Sell
you
me this
have
pencil.
your pointer finger?
I think
on
you're
it?
holding it wrong, as a wise man once
Wow,
said.
hold it like a fist. Like, how are you holding this?
Yeah, that
thing?
wise
With,
man
like, your
died
fingers...
of cancer that was preventable if he just, I don't know how wise that was. Oh no, they're coming for me for the pitchforks, Drew. I spoke bad about our Lord and Savior Jesus Jobs.
I think his first name is Jesus.
Thou shalt not
soon.
hold it wrong.
So, now people are going like, why don't you get invited to these Apple events?
Because Randy crapped on Jobs somehow. Even though I liked it better under Steve Jobs. I have more fond memories under Steve, but whatever. That's fine. Maybe if I made a special, documentary or something, then maybe I'll be considered for things. We'll see. You know that one, Drew?
We'll see. Blackfish. You were in that one, weren't you? You
I worked at SeaWorld San Diego is what he's referencing. And
Still can't find that image in the commercial that you're apparently in. Besides
And
the
I
one
was
of
in
a
a commercial.
kid and the whale.
you guys
Right.
do remember my stories. Aw, I was in a SeaWorld commercial as a child.
Were you fired for abusing the fish, or what did you do? It wasn't.
Get down. I told you
And-
no biting. Shamu.
Was it in Mike's wish list for Apple Pencil 3?
You didn't answer the question, Drew. How do you hold the pencil?
I don't have a pencil on me to show you, but I basically put it between my middle finger and index finger.
Don't we all?
Yeah.
No, not like that. Mine are... Where's the good...
Oh, like this?
I sold my pencil, too.
Like this?
Like this?
Yeah. No, middle finger on the top.
Middle finger on the... How are you tapping the sensing surface?
I never used that.
How are you
Ever.
writing?
I don't, ever. I type everything.
This feels like rowing a boat or
This
throwing
feels like
something.
a creature
Like you're
from
throwing a dart.
Jurassic Park. Dun, dun, dun,
Drew actually just threw the pencil at a wall
Over
into like the thin walls of his house. Just like a dartboard.
Yeah, it's kind of like that.
What the heck?
How?
So
Wait.
you would be able to use your... You could use your...
So you rested
index
on your
finger.
ring finger.
What?
Yeah.
No.
kinda.
Show that again. This needs to be
I
discussed.
think
I have a
there's
whole
one.
new
is just
handwriting style. My, if I'm ever gonna leave evidence at the crime scene, I'm gonna write like
found it.
Drew.
Just make sure you spell Beverly right. Right, Jinx fans? Any of you out there? Anyway,
What are you talking about?
like this.
What are you doing? Hold, let me...
It's resting on your thumb.
Sir, you're like
Drew.
pinching it between your thumb and your middle finger.
This
but
just
your-
gave me carpal tunnel.
Your thumb and index finger are pinched together. For
I
listeners,
gotta go to
Our
the
hands are
doctor for
different.
arthritis now.
listeners, he's
I also
pretty
find
much
the Magic Mouse incredibly
stabilizing the
comfortable.
pencil
So
between his middle finger and his thumb, and the pencil then
show the difference
rests-
in your finger lengths. How many bars do you have? You know?
it's the same amount of bars as you.
No. Look how similar your ring finger and index finger are in length.
Yeah.
My ring finger is
They're
longer
almost
than my
identical.
index finger,
And
but my
ring
middle
finger is
finger
much
is the
longer. It
longest
doesn't
of them
matter.
all.
I don't.
His
I'm
middle
not
finger has a
using
lot of
my
miles
ring
on it.
finger though. It doesn't matter what your ring finger is doing. It matters what your middle, index, and thumb are doing.
I mean this sincerely, Drew.
No,
I
there's-
think you're holding it wrong.
I believe it, but I just never do. I genuinely haven't held a pen or pencil in.
You have inspired me to
probably.
ensure that my son learns to hold a pencil the right way. I refuse to
Are
let
you
him.
gonna encourage him to use right or left hand?
Right now, he seems to be left hand dominant, which is very interesting. Yeah. No Apple Pencil for him.
Okay.
That's all. Apple Pencils are right hand only.
Interesting. Yeah, I'm,
Right, Mike?
I'm definitely doing it wrong.
You're holding
But
it
I'm
wrong.
trying
You're
to-
using it wrong. You're
I'm trying to hold it the way you guys hold it, and it just doesn't feel right.
okay. Here's how I hold it. Make like an L shape. Okay.
Put
Yeah.
it on your forehead.
Yeah. With an L, like with his fingers in the shape of an L on his forehead. Well, dun, 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 dun. Okay, so
Rest in peace.
yeah, I know.
Rest in peace, Shrek. Rest in
Somebody
peace.
once taught me that holding Apple Pencils shouldn't be this difficult. All right, rest.
I'm following it.
Okay,
We're getting
rest the
Gotta get
pencil
guide on this.
in the divot of your thumb and your index down here,
in the valley of
where the
no
right
return.
where the right ankle would meet if it was an
Yeah,
L, and then bring the Apple Pencil to your middle finger as such, and then bring your index finger on top, grip with the thumb, boom, pivot, pivot.
No.
I know that reference. And then boom, go on apple.com and see how their model's hand holds it. It's the right way, Drew.
How do they hold this?
I'm
She
the
knows how to
model.
flip it,
Pivot.
Learn more. There
Mike
it is.
just made a
Apple
friend's
pencil.
joke in our chat, and I'm old because I get the reference.
I haven't even watched the show, and I know the reference.
Do you know the blooper? That was a whole blooper, and they just kept when they went with it.
That's great.
Yeah.
Now I want you to teach me how to flip it like the invite does.
Wait, how they flip it? Like, wait, like this?
No, it's one hand. It's like this way. I've had friends that can do it. I can't do it.
I could probably do it. I fiddle with the pencil. If you know what I mean.
You've had to sign a lot of things.
Especially
I've used the
today.
pen maybe once in the past year to sign a check.
Dude.
I think that was it.
I'm always signing document. I almost feel obligated. Well, here's the thing. If iPad suck next week, I'm not going to lose any sleep because I still got an amazing... Drew, don't do that. Stop it. Let me.
Oh, I know what we need to get down. Go ahead.
If they suck next week, I still got a good iPad mini upstairs that I can still sign documents with this pencil, so I'm not going to be too worried about it. But I almost feel like it's a necessity at this point, unironically, that I need to have an iPad on hand strictly for signing things. Because my toxic trait is that I like to keep buying houses. And would you guys believe me if I told you I was trying to find a summer home in Florida or a winter home in Florida?
That's your toxic trait?
Randy,
That's
you have
my
a
toxic.
problem.
I like to buy things. I don't know how to sell them, but I like to buy them. Why have another kid when you could just have another home?
Yeah.
So, anyway,
there's a debate.
What were you saying, Drew, about that's what you need to get me or something you said? I don't know.
We need to, because this is our last episode before the event, we need to get our price predictions in check for the pros.
$12.99
For the 11-inch?
Is it still 11 in? I thought they were all increasing in size with the smaller bezels.
Randy, when he watches Stranger Things. It's still 11?
It's still 11?
No, it's no, there's still gonna be a small one and a big one. Maybe it's 11.2 or whatever. There's still a small one, but it is switching to OLED on both sizes. So there's a lot of talk about how bad are these price hikes gonna be. So we have to see how wrong we are.
What if they just keep them the same? They just upsell the accessories, like the new keyboard, Magic Dock keyboard, the new pencil. That stuff gets the price hike. But what if, like, the iPads? Now, I don't see it. I see the pros going up in price. I genuinely do. I see pros going up. Maybe regular
an LCD
iPad.
and then OLED.
Yeah.
Fancy OLED, by the way. It's not a cheap OLED panel.
Well, when you say it like that, $12.99 for the big one.
$12.99 for the big one. Okay, that's reasonable. That's a $200 price hike.
The big one's going to have some proprietary thing with like its camera sensors and its AI, blah blah blah, and don't forget the hover.
Doesn't it start at 800 right now? The iPad Pro.
The 11-inch currently starts at 800 with an LCD.
Oh, but you can upgrade, or you're
but
assuming
now they're both
you can
getting
upgrade to
OLED. It's not even mini LED now. They're both of the pros. In the past years, only the biggest iPad Pro was the one with mini LED. Now both variants of the Pro are going to move to OLED. That within itself,
which means higher resolution, higher contrast rate, Super Retina XDR.
Yeah, that feels like a $200 increase to be honest, because I think they'll do like, it's not going to be 64 gigs. It'll be like 128 or something like that. Like the pros will be marketed.
It's already 128.
Oh,
yeah.
Really? I thought.
Yeah. Come on, Grandpa. We're in 128 gig.
Back in my day, iPads used to be 16 gigabytes.
What's the Air start at? Is that still 64?
I bet that's 64.
A joke.
That's 64.
You would be correct. God, Apple,
what are you doing, man? So
64
it's going to start at 128 now, and they'll be like, it's the same price as if you were to spec up to a 128, and that's how they'll justify the price increase for iPad Air.
It is. It is one. Oh, for the Air, yeah. Okay, that makes sense. Well, you
For-
can't get it. They don't make it in 128, actually. Which would make that
64 to
upsell even funnier.
265. That's such a
65,
toxic
okay.
Apple thing to do.
No, they'd say it's the same price as if you would expect it before, and there was never a 128.
Apple's gaslighting a whole community.
Well, they did that with the whole EU compliance thing. How about your price guesses, Mike?
I'm basing this off of the Steam Deck because that's the only thing I know and care about. Or the
Okay.
Steam Deck.
Why not the Nintendo Switch OLED?
Because the Steam Deck is a better console, in my opinion. The Steam Deck
Which, okay.
went from 450 to 550 from LED to OLED for the same storage size. So I could easily see that 200 price increase, maybe $200 to $300. It pretty much lands around where Randy's guess was. I would think around 1100. So pretty much where the 12-inch sits right now.
Mike won't use Nintendo as a reference because he knows if he does, we have to talk about how I whooped his butt in Smash Brothers. And he just doesn't want this smoke. He don't want this heat.
Wait. Are you saying $1,100 starting?
For the
11-inch?
11-inch OLED.
Okay. Yeah. That's reasonable.
Oh, like when you say 1100, like I'm trying to picture like the new iPad, 11.2 inch, now with OLED, starting at $10.99.
Is it 11 too? I thought it was just 11. Is there an extra 2 from decreasing the bezel?
And that's what Drew was implying earlier. I have no idea.
No,
I have
I'm
a 12.8, so I just
we don't. The dimensions have leaked. I don't actually think the bezel's going to be that much thinner, to be honest.
I don't think it should be.
I've heard it should be. I agree. That's a different.
But what
thing.
about all the leaks that say it's going to get skinnier? Or is that the iPhone?
Who said
I forget.
where? Find me one.
There were some leaks at
I've
some
seen
point that were
leaks
saying
saying-
skinnier bezels for something.
Yeah, not. I don't think it was for the iPad. For the phone, yeah, but
For the new Apple
they've
Watch.
said that
yeah.
the iPad would be thinner. Like, the width, not the bezel, but just like it'll be the thinnest Apple product, basically ever. So jerry rig everything's gonna make a lot of money.
Drew, it's not this. It's this. You don't hold it like this. You hold it like this for the iPad. You're holding the iPad.
You're making
wrong.
the time code people work really hard, Mike.
Or the listeners trying to figure out what's going on. I'm holding up the Apple Pencil.
They're like,
reference
"Oh, did
to
I
the
rewind?
thickness
What
of the iPad. We're fine.
Are they still talking about the pencil holding?
It's part of the iPad. It's the one gated accessory for it. Well, I guess there's a few other things.
My middle finger turns into a Cybertruck silhouette when I hold it.
Drew, not everything's a Cybertruck. There's
Your
triangles
middle
that
finger's
exist everywhere
overpriced.
in life.
You can't afford my middle finger.
You
right.
get this one for free.
Do you think? I'm trying to figure out why Apple would make a tablet so thin.
It's Apple. And
App-
Johnny Ive is just always about,
At some point, does it just become a rollable iPad? Because it's so thin.
oh, that's their foldable. Good one, Mike. This is their first foldable. Again.
Oh, I was saying
not their
rollable,
first.
but sure, we could do foldable too.
This one might be. the
Lou
first
shows up.
rollable.
Did somebody send Bendgate? And he'll just start trying to
I
get
mean, like they know what happens whenever they do this.
shocker.
Why would they encourage it again? Is it all press is good press?
For iPad, yes. Do you
It
think
could be
the
just another boring iPad?
Do you think the M2 iPad Airs were so? I mean, iPad Pros were so bad, like they didn't really sell. That the reason why there's been a over 500-day delay is they acknowledge it's like, okay, just slapping another M chip in there and calling it a day isn't enough. I think I feel. Remember those like little sim ejector things, liquid metal, and you can't bend those
Yeah, I
things.
have them.
That material should be put.
Also, you're wrong. I can totally bend this.
Bend it for me. I can't bend mine.
All right.
Show me.
Live on air.
Muscles
Drew bends
Erickson
his
over
sim
here
thing.
about to just.
Well, I've got the beefed up middle finger muscles from my pencil holdings.
Your 30x.
Look at you. He's breaking a
finger.
sweat. Oh yeah, buns and thighs.
Now you have a cyber sim ejector.
I could sell it for $100.
But look how hard that was. Now imagine that material on an iPad. That'd be so sick.
But it's
also expensive, even though Apple owns the company that made that stuff now. Yeah, I don't see that being an easy sell. I feel like the new iPads have to be hardware-wise radically different besides just moving the camera. Because it's not enough to just throw an M chip in there.
They're moving the camera. Huh?
They are moving the camera. Yeah, they're moving the camera. There's something. I feel like they're about to. Maybe it's just what I want. Maybe it's not what they're about to do. But I feel like we're about to see something that we weren't expecting with iPad. That would be like, oh hey, there you go. There's some future proofing, and then I'll just fall for the hype like I did in 2018. Yeah.
You know what I'd really like is for them to move the logo to the landscape orientation.
Didn't they on the air?
That's such a revolutionary change, Drew.
Boom.
Wow. No, I think
what
if
do
we're
you
getting
want,
if
Mike?
we're getting this thin to where you're able to squeeze these components in such a thin volume, might as well just stack them on top of each other in different sections and have a dual or tri-fold iPad at that point. Like, you're getting to the point where you can do that, because if you can fit things that like compactly in depth or width or whatever you want to call it in terms of that dimension, you could easily just stack them on top of each other, add some just heat dissipation material in between, or ways to dissipate heat between it, so that way you're not overheating components on top of each other, and then just have it fold. So then you've got a foldable iPad. There you go. Foldable market. Easy peasy. We're
Just
at
like
that point.
It would
Microsoft
be
Duo
3,000.
thing. Surface
Yeah.
Duo.
But like, it's an iPad, so it's probably better.
I think the reason we're going so thin with this is because it has to accommodate for the new weight distribution that we're going to get with the new keyboard case that it's going to come with, which is going to be rumored aluminum, which is not heavy, but I think that means it is going to be heavier than the case I have now with the Magic Keyboard. So because of the new components that is to enhance the hardware side of the ecosystem for iPad, you kind of need to have as thin of a body as possible. And maybe they have some type of R&D that shows that they keep most of these iPads plugged in anyway, so big battery, who cares? When the M4 chip is so efficient at something or another, then it's like, oh, thinner footprint without compromising on battery, and now you can dock it to our new keyboard case, which may even have some type of residual power again. I can see something to that. Things that equate to it being a heavier product. And then there you go. You don't need a MacBook Air or a MacBook Pro or really any MacBook, I guess. And then this heavy thing you could just carry around and what's a computer?
Full circle. I mean, what do you do with this thing, right? Like, they've tried so many different iPad-only features, and anytime we ask for something that's on the Mac, they just go, well, buy a Mac for that. You're not allowed to ask for new things.
If you need to do math, ask Siri.
We're supposed to get a calculator. Is it weird that we're already talking about the M4 chip? Is anyone else?
I'm not talking
freaked out
about it.
by
Are
that?
you talking about it?
Yes.
Randy was.
Oh, I guess I blocked that out of my mind then.
That's probably good.
Just
Wasn't
don't listen to
listening.
me, Mike, ever.
Is it too... Do you think it's too soon for Apple to release an M4 chip?
It's never too soon. Imagine they announced M4, M5, and M6 at the same time.
The
It'd
answer
be a
is
Marvel moment.
the real answer is yes. It's too soon, but the practical answer is no, because we've seen them do it with other things in the past, like iPad 3, and they got iPad 4 very quickly afterwards. Didn't we have that happen? I feel like that happened on like an accessory of something too. But the thing is, like, that's my point. It was something so small, minus the iPad going from 30 pin to Lightning. I don't know. It's appropriate to put an M4. I mean, but like, who? You got an M3 and all of this zhuzhiness for your MacBook Pros, and like those are the people who really need that productivity. Those are the us. That doesn't sway. If they said we have an M5 exclusive to the iPad Pro, that's not going to make me go towards an iPad Pro that much more, because it still can't do core functions that you need macOS for. So in that sense, no, it's maybe not too soon because it doesn't really change the efficiency of how a pro user would be utilizing their MacBook. But it feels kind of jerkish to just, so quickly turn on, oh yeah, M4. It feels like it undermines M3 as a whole. But I don't know of any issues that M3 was actually like having. I don't know, was it having thermal issues again or anything like the issues that M2 was having on the MacBook Air. I don't see issues being reported same for M3, which is cool. And then M1 was just bae in all things. So it does feel like it's been undermining something that is not a problem. If they quickly pooped out M3 from the M2 with it, oh man, it's overheating and it's running slower, it's saving things, read and write is slower, I could see that being like, oh, because they're fixing it. The same thing with Butterfly keyboard or something. Like, I get it, they're fixing something. But when it's just like, there's nothing wrong with M3, but then again, it's on a MacBook, and now we're comparing apples to apples, and it's MacBook to iPad. I don't think it really sways the person who's like going towards that. This iPad next week is supposed to sway people like me in the sense that I have a 2018 iPad Pro. It's a little agey. It's kind of showing its age just a little bit, but it's fine because I don't do too much on it. But if I'm looking for an upgrade,
still has ProMotion.
There you go. If I'm looking for an upgrade, I'll probably just look for an M1. If I'm being straight up honest with you, I'll look for an M1.
Those will probably get cheaper next week.
Yeah.
Yeah, most definitely.
That's the way to go.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what I'm looking for in a new iPad besides colors at this point. Unless they really want to unlock some of the features for more computing capability. Or just more features that make more sense for the iPad that I haven't thought of. Like that's something that I'm waiting for with iPad, is features that I want to use, but I didn't know I want to use it. I didn't know it was even possible. And so
about emulators in side loading.
That'd be nice. Except I think, can you do that? No, it's the iPad.
Go back to Windows, you liar.
It can't do it now, but the EU says it has to do it.
Because iPad OS and iOS are the same thing.
Well, that's not why, but they did say DMA applies to the iPad. So you don't get out of it just because it's iPad OS and not iOS.
I don't appreciate a government forcing its way onto a company, and that's just maybe the American me. I'm all about the free market, for better or for worse. I don't feel like this makes me feel a little icky. Like they have no business.
I'm for it if it's for things I like.
And against it for things I dislike. Yes. But I just, in principle, it's like, am I looking at Apple anymore, or am I looking at the host of a parasite that already took over? Is this some Walking Dead or The Last of Us situation where it's like, oh, you're not really you. You're that thing that's just trying to spread. Because At what point is the EU going to stop now at this point? They're just going to nitpick everything because Apple's too big. Like, I don't know. There's a blurred line here, and I don't know what the right answer is. But I like emulators. I like playing old Game Boy games or Nintendo games on an iPhone as much as the next guy who would. In fact, I thoroughly would enjoy having more use out of a mobile gaming experience personally, but I don't think like we like it today, but tomorrow, next year, before the end of the decade, I feel like there's going to be an overreach, an overstep of something, and then what? Like, then we're put in an awkward position of like, no, I'm not going to do it, EU, and then they risk, like, they're not going to get back. I don't know. Maybe I got to get my Alex Jones tinfoil hat on here.
But you see, the thing is, Apple's just going to hire the deep state to go after the leaders of the EU so they can put in their own operatives in there. And there's something in the water that turns the frogs.
The globalists don't want macOS on the iPad.
See, what they at least don't want you to know is that the ducks at the park are free and you can just take them.
What if you could run macOS as an emulator?
Probably could.
macOS on iPad, thanks to the EU. Here it comes.
And you
I
can
don't
attach
know.
a Bluetooth mouse to it.
Here's why I don't think Apple would do that though. They're all in on Vision OS, right? They're maybe just trying to reskin everything.
They're not all in like Elon being all in on Robotaxi. I mean, they're like Apple Vision Pro's the future, but also we're still going to release all this other stuff. So I feel like there's just a huge missed opportunity for the iPad that we've talked about to death, but
Oh, tell me. I love it.
I've given up on it. I mean, what for you, Randy, would prevent you, or what things would Apple have to do, or for either of you really? Imagine if you were in the market for, a new laptop or whatever, assuming your M1 MacBook Air was not available or your 14-inch MacBook Pro. What are you looking for in a, somewhat large screen, but, backpackable device?
Yeah.
What could the iPad do that would win you over? Be like, okay, this is actually worth considering over a Mac, or even not over a Mac. Just ignore the Mac thing. Just
Okay.
like, how do you justify
Buying an iPad? Yeah. No, I get what you're saying.
Mm-hmm.
I think it has to be all things tactile. It's a very, I think by design, always it has always been a more like intimate product that you're supposed to actively be touching the display with, whether it's with an Apple Pencil or your fingers. And even though I can run like a YouTube channel, for example, off of my iPhone now, there's something more relaxing and stress-free about like photo editing for thumbnails or logo design, or even when I'm drafting just notes, having a bigger screen real estate that I can collect my thoughts on. It's easier to see. Here's prime example of something I feel should only be iPad exclusive, even though it's cross-platform. I love Freeform on the iPad. It just works better for me that way. And maybe it's the boxier design about it that it welcomes you to engage and interact with it. But that there lies the problem with iPad. Personally, the reason why I don't main an iPad over anything else is because it still lacks the utility factor of what we need from our MacBooks today, or our Mac in general today. And I hear you. Emulating a Mac OS on an iPad, I think I grimaced at that when you first said that, Drew, because I suspect it would be buggy and delay and glitchy and just have this weird like sidecar. It would just have this weird after motion thing happening in an emulation. I feel even if it was first party Apple supported, I could see Apple making it a worse experience. Maybe out of just stubbornness that, they're just their pride and their ego are just too
the
big.
EU made me do it.
Yeah.
We had to do it.
So we did it right now, and that's that. But then again, Apple's not the type of company to compromise their own products like that. They will just find a way to amplify it instead of amplify it. Nice. Write that one down. Boom. I'm gonna use that one later. But Apple, I don't think Apple would want to self-sabotage like that because it's not part of their branding. But I just feel like a forced emulation means maybe there wasn't like real thought that went into it. So if I had to upgrade to an iPad today, there is no Mac in the equation and there's no other thing just because of what I need an iPad. I would want another big screen real estate device that I can do the more visual components. It would serve no purpose for Logic for me. I wouldn't use Final Cut because LumaFusion works flawlessly with the keyboard commands and stuff on it, and it's just a one-time payment. It's a perfect like companion product in a world if you need it, something outside of a Mac. It's like that's as closest to a Mac as you can get when you have all those like components working together. But the thing is, like, it's such a shady move because in this scenario I need the keyboard, I need the trackpad, I need the Apple Pencil. Assuming I don't have all that ready on hand and I gotta go buy that again, I'm paying more than I would for a MacBook, a cheap MacBook. A MacBook Air M1 for $700 after my military discount got me to stream, run Logic simultaneously, host the podcast that we were doing, sometimes even all at once in some form or another. Never once had a RAM issue, never once crashed, and that was just running off of an M1 because of macOS and all the third-party components that work to that, like OBS or Discord or what have you. You can't get that on an iPad, and that's where its flaws are at. They have to redesign the architecture of iPad OS, whatever that may be to them, for it to work like that. But I think we're just too specific of a use case that it doesn't fit in our lineup. But anybody else who doesn't, I don't care about that stuff. They just want that like engaged moment, that feeling of being able to touch it and play. That's why all these kids have these smaller like iPad 9s or whatever. And they can watch their kiddie shows because it's a good media device. So it's hard, man. It's hard. I want to like it, and I'm trying to be optimistic about iPad. I want to like iPad for what it is. But 2018, Randy said, I can see iPad replacing my MacBook, and that's my daily driver, and it's minimal, and it's clean. I can't do continuity camera on that like that. Ish.
True.
But you can't do it like this. There's workarounds, sure, but I can't use that in 2024. I could have used it I did use it in 2018. I can't use it in 2024. And no iPad Pro since then has swayed me, sold me, convinced me, made me think differently. I'm just like, oh, that's neat. Oh, that's cool. Oh, okay, Pro applications. That's all right, I guess. Fine. And I'm trying to be fair. Like, never mind the subscription model. I hate that, but never mind that. Okay. Hover feature, whatever that means, subject lifting, fine. That doesn't compete with macOS. It can't. macOS is just too. It's legacy, man. It's too established. It's not going anywhere. So yeah, maybe you're right. Maybe that was a long walk around for me to realize the truth, Drew. Maybe the emulation of macOS is the only way to go. So yeah,
he said it.
Yeah. I'd say from my experience, I guess 2016 or 2017, Mike, really enjoyed the Surface Pro. I think it was a Surface Pro 4 or 5. And that was like the golden standard for being able to be both a tablet and a computer, and still did it decently well in my opinion. And it did everything that I needed to do with the Office 365, where I was able to take notes on OneNote and then be able to send them to people, like a PDF version of it, and I didn't have to go and tap through everything. I could just convert it to computer mode and then use the trackpad to move the mouse wherever I needed to move files over to an email or anything else. So having that on an iPad would probably be, I think, the only reason why I would get one now, is if I was able to do what I was doing back in 2016, 2017 with a Surface Pro 4 or 5. So for iPads today, I think being able to use macOS or some emulation of it is something that I'd be slightly interested in. But again, I'm not really taking notes anymore. I'm not really drawing as much anymore. If I am, I'm drawing on the Mini, and the Mini, even though it's a small screen, does everything that I need it to do. And so it's mainly just like what you said, I think last week or the week before, Drew. I pretty much use it like your wife, pretty much like a Kindle. So it's not necessarily like doing the biggest tasks or anything like that. And again, like what Randy said in his response, the MacBook Air does everything for a very low price already really well. And so being able to nail down the RAM usage efficiently with whatever M chip that it has in there would be pretty much like grounds for being a good product for an iPad, is being able to manage all of those processes flawlessly and not have any hiccups. So mastery of the components that it's got in there is what it needs to do.
Last week, or this week, sorry, like this Monday or Tuesday, I took my brother to a Walmart here in town, and he bought a M1 MacBook Air for $700, brand new. It was the last one in stock. And
That was brave of you to go to Walmart.
It's the only place. Well, I told him to order it online, Walmart or Best Buy. They were going to send it, not used or really good use, brand new. And Walmart is just trying to clear inventory, and he bought the very last one in store that was wrapped up. The packaging was a little, you could tell it's been sitting for a while. It was so old, it was running, I think it was Monterey, but I want to say Ventura just to play it safe. I think.
You had so many flashbacks right there.
Dude, I think he was on Monterey, and he went straight to Sonoma because he was like, whoa, what just happened? I might be wrong. It might have been Ventura. I don't, it happened so quick, but I know that he was behind at least one major OS update. So he updated all that, but
I think it was Ventura, from what I can tell.
How do you know?
I looked it up on Apple support.
Monterey was on M1 Air.
Okay, then it was Monterey.
Well,
I was just trying to help you, Randy. I'm sorry. Jeez, I won't pipe up again.
No, no. I think I don't
need
remember.
a history.
He
How did the order go?
just needed basic computing that he can't do on his phone. And I had a moment because he came to me, obviously, go to the tech guy, and we talked about iPads for a second. And I saw the splinter. I saw the fracture of the thought process where it's like, I can't refer you to an iPad. I just can't for everything I was iterating earlier. And an M1 Air, I told him, like, that's what I had back in early 2021. That is what I would use today if there was no MacBook Pro from 2021. I would have still had the M1 MacBook Air just fine. And that's me explaining to him that, like, I mean it what I say about like how great the M1 chip was, specifically in the Air. That was just like mind blowing. And he just needed basic computing. So I was like, okay, so you're not doing anything powerhouse necessarily. And it got me thinking about, like, why can't iPad do this thing? Because he needs a CAC reader. He needs to plug in this device so he can put his ID and log on to certain government websites. And you just can't really do that cleanly on an iPad. That's a limitation. That's something the iPad would need to address for me to make me want to upgrade. If you can support, external card readers to log on to certain websites, that's something. Shoot, at this point, I would take a proper file management where I can download something from the web and say like an MP3, and it auto loads into the music app, iTunes, and I could just play it without it just being its own independent MP3 thing just floating out in the ether. Nowhere else but on the Mac can I do that, where I'll just, the Talos of Theme, for example, just when I made the song and I exported from Logic, it auto-populated it right into my music library, which has its own file system within the file management system of files, Finder, excuse me. And I can go in there and I can actually dictate what sound effects, songs, themes, whatever saved and what I want gone, and it just does it. It's not in the cloud, it's not synced, it's on a local device. iPad can't do that. So I mean, there's a lot it really can't do. It relies stupid heavily on apps, third-party apps, to be efficient. Which, to their credit, third-party apps are phenomenal, amazing, and in virtually everything. But sometimes it's not enough. Sometimes I just need a calculator, dude. Just give me a calculator. You just need the core stuff. So he got an M1 Air.
Especially if it was in PIP. That's how I would do it if I were.
That's the only way to do it. Don't you dare take up my whole screen. That's so dumb.
That's what it's going to be. They're going to take that old clip of Craig. We'd like to do something really special if we did it on the iPad. And then it just, normal calculator app, 12.9 inch OLED.
The size of a jitterbug operating, where it's like my grandma can use it and no one else. Like, oh, great.
1, 2, right. We'll see. Do you think I should review the new iPads?
Too soon to say, but yeah. I think you should. If they suck, obviously don't do it, but if there's something...
Too soon, but yes.
Yes, until they give you a reason not to.
What else are you reviewing right now?
Nothing.
Oh, there you go. That's
Could spice things up a little.
Spice things up with an iPad, huh?
Yeah.
I think I can confidently tell you to do it because I think you're past the point where you're like, guys, I want to keep it. I think if you're before I would hesitate to say like, Drew, don't do it. You're gonna want to keep it. I think we're past that. I do. If you want to keep it, it's because it's that amazing. But we all know.
I do love living minimally.
So no iPad.
So no.
It's the OS that's the problem. Unless for whatever reason it has nothing to do with iOS 18, iPad OS 18. Unless they do some redesign UI thing, it's still iPad OS. It doesn't matter what the hardware form is. You know what I mean? It doesn't matter. It's still the same operating system. So...
Well, the last Apple event convinced me to start filming all my videos on an iPhone. That's the kind of disruption we're talking about here. So if the iPad is able to shoot the whole event...
Do you think that, Drew? Do you think it's going to be shot on iPad?
I think they could do it and no one would be able to tell, because I think the lesson I've learned from the last event is it's not about the lens. It's not about the sensor. It's all about the lighting.
Yeah.
They made a very high quality, well-produced keynote that no one really even could tell was shot on iPhone until the very end when they announced it. And I think it mainly stemmed from just having really good lighting, really good equipment. And they've already demoed like, oh, this person's filming in ProRes on the iPad, and they had this big camera rig on it and everything. So if I could imagine them, if they don't broadcast it with the iPad, they probably at least tried. They're filming it with the giant IMAX camera, and then right next to the IMAX they put a little iPad. Be like, let's just see how that footage comes out. We'll see if it's worth. But you notice no one at the last event actually mentioned the fact that it was shot on iPhone. They had to add it in text at the very end, which makes me wonder if it was like a backup. It's like, well, let's see how it looks. And if it looks bad, we'll switch over to a different camera that we were also using the entire time.
The behind the scenes indicates that was the only camera on set.
Well, that's what they want us to think.
Yeah, I agree. Okay, I see what you're saying. So, question: do you think they already filmed the event? It's already done and ready. It's just sitting in.
Oh yeah, probably last week. I bet it's all done. They're just adding little touch-ups and doing the animations and stuff. That's all probably ready. How long do you guys think this event will be?
Hour and a half.
Whoa! Okay, that was way more than I thought.
It's been a while. It's been a year.
Okay, Mike, hang on. Before I give
Says
my
what?
answer, Mike,
Year and a
elaborate.
half since.
What is covered in those 90 minutes? What fills the time slot for 90 minutes?
The new updates to iPad, chassis-wise, software-wise, what it can do in enterprises or work situations and all that. If you want to sell a whole bunch of them to a business and all that. New accessory capabilities and functions that they can add onto it. Maybe if they've got like a smart mount that it goes to, they can rave about that for another 15 minutes and how great that thing is. Which I really hope is there. So, I mean, just thinking about it, it's been... When was the last time we heard about iPads? November of 2022? October?
Yeah, it was October, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The last
So
time
it's
we
been
heard
a
of
while.
iPads, my son wasn't born. What?
Whoa.
Whoa.
Your son's gone his whole life without an iPad update. How does he live?
Better than
That's
me.
insane.
No wonder he's so happy.
He doesn't know what it's like to be disappointed yet. Interesting.
So many jokes
was a
I'm not
good
going to
one.
jump on. But, yeah, I think there's a decent amount to cover for new updated iPads throughout the whole lineup. If they're going to keep every single one, it's okay, well, the regular iPad doesn't have a Touch ID home button anymore. Now it's just back to a button on the top, just like the iPad Air that you can do.
That's the 10.
Yeah?
You just described the iPad 10.
I feel like looking at the... this is why. They put the iPad... Why did they put the 10th generation, the 9th generation iPad in this list right here? That's silly.
Because that's just the iPad with no suffix category, which we have multiple iPads that are not minis or Airs or Pros. It's not confusing at all. Come on. It's very simple.
When you said
Yeah,
errors, it sounded like errors, like error.
iPad error.
I don't know. See, that's like the thing is like they could surprise us with an hour and a half event, and I somehow still wouldn't be surprised because they're just spending so much time on each iPad and each accessory as it's a most revolutionary update for 2024 that it makes sense that they went that long. Even if it's just, I don't know, we get a brief interlude of a new Apple TV show or a new trailer for Severance or whatever. Like, that's a way that they can pad it out and try to get more attention
true.
on the iPads and Apple again, because it seems like attention for Apple has waned a bit. So, only makes sense that they would capitalize on this opportunity before Dub, or I guess Triple V, that they need to get some attention out there for their company and their devices. So maybe they throw in a few extra things as well.
I'll be surprised if it's over 40 minutes. I think this is going to be short, concise. It's the iPad, so they can't spend much time on it.
So, I was going to say an hour or 45 minutes. And I'm thinking at least 45 minutes. I think it will be at least that. Because
Okay.
they're going to talk about Vision Pro.
We all have different answers.
Vision Pro has
One
to
of
get
us
brought
is
up.
right.
Vision Pro has to get brought up. There's no way. Good morning. Here at Apple, we love to innovate and make new things. And they haven't done a video presentation post shipping of Vision Pro. They have to talk about it.
That's true.
Talking about Vision
That's
Pro
true.
alone is going to take up 5-10 minutes. talking about renewable sources, 100% recyclable, is another 5-10 minutes. Mother Nature's going to show up somehow.
The iPad design has been recycled many times.
We love going green. So that leaves, on the high end, that's 20 minutes already gone. On the low end, 10 minutes already gone. You're not going to talk about iPads for 15 to 20 minutes. New iPads. Especially if we're doing Airs and Pros. Maybe a Mini. That's block out 30 right there. And that's assuming we're just doing iPads. And there is no, like, for the spring release, we're now introducing brand new Apple Watch bands. Like, that's so cool. And with that, a new iPhone. Just kidding. Like, there's no color.
I would love it if they did that.
If they do,
we need another.
We made an ad
Mother
for
Earth
that
skit.
And then they're going to show you an ad. That alone is going to take 20
Wisteria
to 25
purple.
minutes. If they did a purple iPhone as the refresh and not red, I wouldn't be mad. But
Oh, I would be.
I know you want red.
I would be furious.
iPhone 16, rumored to have another dark green.
Where did you see that?
Apple Insider, I think. I'll have to pull it up.
Oh, jeez.
I
saw
was
it
looking
too
it up
on the
on
same
my
day.
new Instagram,
No.
Twitter account called The Randy Vasquez. The Randy Vasquez. I screwed that up. The Randy Nexus. I'm still getting used to it.
He forgot his own last name.
Nexus.
Wow. He's gonna change his name.
So 45 minutes. 45 minutes is a fair. They're gonna recap some stuff.
I think they're airing it at 7 a.m. to try to get everybody to watch it before work starts.
No, because what's that on East Coast time? That's already 10.
Yeah, that's when they have their brunch break.
I think it'll be such a boring event, it's not going to affect the stock.
I disagree entirely.
Oh, we're gonna make stock projections.
No, I'm not. I'm not gonna make that projection.
Statistically, they go down after every event. Every event. Today, we solved world hunger. Stock dropped.
Didn't make money.
Well, McDonald's stock would probably drop if you solved world hunger. But how good is your memory for macOS releases?
What are you asking?
Exactly.
I have
that.
a list. Don't look it up yourself, but I have a list of all of the macOS versions.
Okay, how far back? All of them?
All the way to Cheetah.
This is the actual trivia. Oh,
Dun, 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 dun.
and he's gone.
I'm already running it on the... Hello, if you're watching on YouTube, I have moved over to my phone. I caught it before I did it. So.
I'm curious. Here's my question, Randy, since you're the Mac guy here. How far back do you think you could go and accurately list the names?
I won't look them up, but can I write them down? Because I will know if I write it down.
He's got a mnemonic for it.
Yes,
I could
as
go.
long as you hold
I could
the pencil
go
correctly.
from leopard forward, pretty confidently.
Apple leopard.
macOS leopard.
I can go leopard.
Oh no.
All right, hang on a second.
Okay, you are allowed to write,
I am.
and I'm gonna fact check you.
Okay.
There's probably a few more big cats.
We're going on the honor system. I'm not gonna cheat. It takes the
I
fun
don't
away.
think there's
if I
any
just-
banana slugs.
Okay.
You're not allowed to ask Grok or whatever.
Am
I
on
have
this as
I have
well?
Notepad. I have my note app open.
Mike, you can
right
do
there.
it if you
So,
want. I just assumed you
give
didn't
me
know as
one.
closely
Second here.
because you were the Windows guy
Me?
until I met you. Mike
No,
was.
me. Except I grew up with Mac. I just didn't pay attention.
Yeah, that's why I assumed. I've already looked it up, so I can't play. I can, however, recite every iOS generation.
Oh, you silly
As
boy.
long as I'm not wearing shoes.
Oh man. So the reason why I'm thinking about this is because I did a live stream about tiering all the macOS.
Oh, right.
But that was back in
You ranked
2022. So
I forgot about that.
Coincidentally,
You're at an
when
advantage.
iPads were last talked about.
coincidentally, yeah. Okay.
Wow, I feel like I'm thrown back in time.
Yeah, but okay. So the thing is, uh,
To celebrate the iPad event, we're talking about macOS today. Actually, this is the only OS history we can do because all the other ones are just numbers.
yeah, that's true. Okay, so what's intimidating is I might have some of this backwards. I'm gonna go as far back as
Yeah.
possible, and I'm gonna go reverse chronological because
Okay,
if
that's kind of like easy to hard.
yes, all right,
Like we know now, we're on macOS Weed today.
Obviously.
weed.
If you move backwards, what does that look like?
Okay, here. Oh, wait. No, I should probably wait. I should probably go after you, Randy, in terms of my guesses.
Okay,
Because
yeah. Actually, I just realized I'm struggling on something within the last decade.
I've got 8 of them so far.
There's a sequence that's actually throwing me off.
Well, I guess while Randy's doing that, and I know I'm not going to get any more, the refrigerator is going well, guys. The pitcher, auto-filling pitcher is great.
Good.
Drew got to check it out when he was here, and you gave it
I
2
did. I
thumbs
got
up.
some first-hand impressions
Did you even touch it?
many times.
I wasn't in the room. That just scares me.
You don't know what I did to that fridge.
It is really cool, though, right? And it's got, well, cool, like both.
Literally.
It does cool things, but also it is very deep in terms of a refrigerator.
It's surprisingly deep.
Jesus, this is so hard. It's actually a lot more difficult than I remember.
Sorry, Randy. It is not macOS Jesus.
You were also asking, Drew, on
It's macOS
Twitter,
Jesus.
You were asking on Twitter/X like almost a month ago, like some fridge questions. So I think I probably spurred some of your ideas on the fridge, or at least thoughts on the fridge. Are you looking for a fridge in the near future, or are you just curious about the fridge market?
Not actively, but
What
I
are your
am.
feelings on fridges?
I'm seeing electricity get more and more expensive, and outside of HVAC, I'm pretty sure our fridge is our biggest power consumer.
Mm-hmm.
So I was doing the math on exactly how much could a much more efficient fridge save us, and I think I was doing the math, and I was like, yeah, the break-even point is going to be a long time before it's actually cheaper to replace our current fridge. However, if our current fridge conks out, that's a different story. It's like, okay, you have to get one. So I like having backup plans. Like I have one for my mower right now, where it's like, okay, my current lawnmower isn't great, but when it officially dies and will not function anymore, what would I replace it with? What would I get to fill in that void? So I kind of do that with my appliances. I rarely go out and buy a new one when my current one is still working. And I'd like to be more that way with my phone and laptop anyway, but I'm doing that with my AirPods. Like, I'm already mentally sold on AirPods Pro 2nd gen with Type-C and everything. It's like, yep, I'm going to get those. I'm just waiting for these to die. And I'm sure they will die because neither of them are from the original pair.
Mm-hmm.
I spaced for like a solid 30 seconds because I forgot what OS I'm on right now. So if this
Obviously,
is an
we-
indicator of how tough this is going to be, I'm willing to try.
So, as you read them, are you going to read them newest to oldest?
Newest to as far back as I can. And
And as you read them, should I tell you if you're right or wrong, or should I just be quiet?
yes, tell me each way up until I get to the felines. Then let me give my sequence. Let me give my sequence because I don't. Obviously, that I'm struggling. Like I can't recall. But I'm gonna try.
So I'll stop at the California locations, basically.
Yes. Well, I'm very, very confident what the last two felines were leading into the California locations. I'm very confident about that. And then everything afterwards, that's where it's like, let me give you my order, and then you tell me, because that where I'm like, I don't know.
Can you say felines again, Randy?
And in the California locations, I think I got it. I think I got some of them backwards too, but I'm locking in my answers.
All right. So for the California locations, I'm going to say correct or incorrect.
Oh, yes. So starting with the first one, the one I actually was struggling the longest, 30 seconds. I forgot we are on Sonoma. I don't use.
Correct.
Woo! I
Good
won.
job, Britt.
I don't use the Sonoma background. That's why I was spacing like, what am I on right now? I didn't know. Sonoma. Okay. Going backwards. Just because we had just talked about it with Mike. Ventura.
Correct.
Woo! Monterey.
Yes.
Cha-ching.
You got this.
Big Sur.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Wow.
Okay.
He's on a winning streak.
Those are all post macOS 10. Here's where it gets weird now. Even though we're in California locations. I was confused and I'm still hesitating, but then I had to remember about dynamic wallpapers. So then I reversed my answer and I went with Catalina.
Correct.
Oh,
you got it.
All right.
5 for 5.
Mojave happened before that one. That one I
Correct.
reversed on accident. I was like dynamic, but I just remember dark mode and light mode, black and white for the desert. Catalina had more
6
dynamic.
for 6.
All right, here we go.
Holy crap.
Now this one I'm worried. Because I initially wrote El Capitan, but then as I was writing it out, I remembered there was Sierra and High Sierra, so it goes High Sierra, then El Capitan.
Wow. Oh my God, that's impressive.
And then
You're 9 in.
9 in. Then we come to I think El Capitan was the redesign. If not, I think Yosemite was the redesign. The flatter.
Yep.
Boom. And then
Yosemite after El Capitan.
the first free macOS Mavericks or Maverick was the very first one. This is now we're in the territory.
I didn't think you would get this far.
I'll be honest with you, Drew. I'm in my comfort zone. I'm in my pocket at this point because this is when I bought my first MacBook Pro. And when I bought my first MacBook Pro, it had Mountain Lion on it. Woo!
Oh, wow.
So I went from Mountain Lion to Maverick, and it was the first free and my first major OS upgrade, and I was blown away. I was like, that's so cool. I don't have to pay for it. So because of Mountain Lion, that only could mean it was a under the skin update to the then Mac OS 10 Lion. So that was it. Easy.
Yep.
All right, here we go. This is where it gets weird. I think before Lion, it was Snow Leopard and Leopard. Am I right?
Yes. It's still on. Oh.
Jeez.
Holy crap.
All right. And before
Show me your tablet right now.
Yeah.
Okay. And now, keep it up. Keep it up. Hold it up to the camera.
Okay.
And without stopping, enter multitasking mode.
How do you do that?
If your browser's, you swipe up and hold. How do I know this?
How do you do it? How do you do
You
it?
swipe up from the bottom and hold.
Before I do, let me
Actually,
just
just
make sure.
go to Safari.
Let me just make sure I don't have let me make sure I don't have a baby baby. I don't have anything with Sage on
Don't
it.
want to show Baby Shark.
Huh?
Nothing.
It's
Okay.
gonna have some like embarrassing. Now show us your browser history
Okay.
right now.
Well, that won't do you any good because I always do private. There is
Okay.
a compromise. I'm showing you a little bit. I'm gonna close out my Photos app because
Okay.
my son is in
Photos
there.
is okay. You wouldn't.
So this
reveal
is my
anything through that.
multitasking.
Okay.
All right.
All right. You're in the clear.
And
You're in
then
the clear.
you said open up.
No, that's it.
Okay.
We're back.
Okay.
You ended on
I
snow
ended
leopard
on
and leopard.
Snow leopard and leopard. Yeah. Okay. Here we go.
You want to keep going?
Yes. No. Until I or like let me. I think I wrote it all the way and I got question marks at the very end. So I'm gonna try. All right. Snow leopard, leopard. Here we go. From snow leopard, is it? Full disclosure, I'm guessing here. Is it tiger?
Yeah.
Oh my God! This is
You're
like
correct.
this is like Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, and I'm at the $500,000 mark.
Except you get absolutely nothing.
That's fine. Okay. From there,
Who wants to be Randy?
from there,
the
I
joke.
have from tiger, it's jaguar.
No. It's your first. Incorrect.
Oof. Try again.
From jaguar, I wrote panther.
You got those two mixed up.
Jeez. Okay.
Unless this is wrong. It could maybe the picture I'm looking at is wrong.
Well, no, we'll go off of you. I'm going off of memory. I'm just writing animals at this point. Somewhere in there, I wrote question mark puma and cheetah. I don't remember if that was actually. I'm trying to remember. I was a literal child when those OSs were out, and I have 0 to like 5% like I think Puma was in there. I'm fairly confident Puma was in there, and I'm like, but maybe it wasn't.
correct.
And then cheetah, I think. And outside that, I have no idea. But I was right. Once I got to leopard and snow leopard, everything was a guess. That's why I drew the arrow. Everything was a guess on this side. I had no idea.
Wow. Impressive.
So I got.
So just to set the record straight, the correct order from oldest to newest would be cheetah, puma, jaguar, panther, tiger, leopard, snow leopard, lion, mountain lion, mavericks, Yosemite, El Capitan, Sierra, High Sierra, Mojave, Catalina, Big Sur, Monterey, Ventura, Sonoma.
Jeez.
And the next step we'll find out next month.
Okay,
I only
this
got
was
8 of
really
those.
hard on the spot, but I have to tell you something. It was harder to remember, let alone organize, the California locations than it was the lions and all the wildcats because when I was writing it out, I'm doing it by date in my head, and what I do know for sure is 2012 into 2013 is when I went from mountain lion to maverick, and it was a point in my life where I just got out of the Marine Corps. I'm going back to school, and my Mac was my only thing. I remember that. That's why when I was in my pocket, I remember that, and I was in Apple heaven from Maverick to Yosemite. Everything was so cool because iOS 7 was with Maverick, and like that's my favorite era of Apple, bar none, was the iOS 7 release. So I remember everything from that, and I started with Mountain Lion Maverick because that was my first MacBook, and I was building out that way, and I was like, oh crap, I don't remember. I completely forgot about the Sierras. It took me to the very end to remember about El Capitan. I kind of forgot about Mojave altogether, but I wrote Catalina. It's like there was something before it or after it with the modes shifting. Big Sur was macOS 11, so that was a big for me. I remember that because that's M1. Big Sur forward, I feel like that's easy money right there. That's cake. And
I
then
would have failed after the first 4.
Yeah, snow leopard backwards. I remember mountain lion. Lion. I was like, oh, that's easy. And the one before that, I just remember leopard, snow leopard for it, but I never used it. But I was guessing from leopard. I was like, I don't know, tiger, jaguar, puma, panther, cheetah. Question marks next to some of them because I had no idea. That was rough, dude.
How'd you do, Mike? How close were you?
I got all of them in terms of rightness, but in terms of order, no.
Oh,
I only got 8,
interesting.
so we're fine. I got
That was a
snow
fun game.
leopard, cheetah, lion, Ventura, Big Sur, Monterey, Sonoma, Napa,
Next week,
Napa.
Napa.
which obviously is one.
Mike with the exclusive
Yep,
scoop.
Oh, did he
obviously.
just tell us what the next macOS is?
because I know this
Yeah.
somehow.
macOS Napa, Napa Valley. That could be a thing. Even though Sonoma is basically wine
It's right
country
next
as
That
to
well.
sounds right.
Lion, mountain lion, Napa, Sonoma. They're both adjacent.
What else in California other than weed that I keep asking for every year?
Redwood, red. I think that was one of them, right? Or
Yeah,
I'll
they
just-
bought that.
Just
I
do
think.
Palo Alto at this point.
well, no, it's meant to be locations, not
macOS.
necessarily like cities.
They could have
Joshua Tree.
macOS Tim Cook's address.
That he
It's just where he lives. As
Mac,
the name.
macOS
It's like with the number and the street.
Joshua Tree.
That's in California.
Yes, sir. Palm Springs.
Oh yeah, cool.
macOS.
All right.
I think Redwood or yeah, Sierra is like
Is that a location though? Or is that
Joshua
just a
Tree.
thing?
Yeah, it's a
Joshua
it's a
Tree, yeah.
national park.
No, Redwood.
No.
I mean, it's
Well,
just
yes.
those-
Wait.
Redwood National Park, but
Then yes, yeah, it's a location. Yeah, because they went off of Yosemite being the most famous of them all for California icons. I don't think they would do macOS San Francisco. That they had San Francisco font, so they're not going to do OS San
there's a lot of
Francisco.
negative association. with
There is.
macOS Pigeon Point.
I think
Pigeon.
Catalina was a good one because I didn't actually think they would reference the islands that are associated with California, which is cool.
Just do
It's
Santa
kind of
Ana
spot on
next,
how they
then.
played it out, huh?
Just do
How
Santa
about-
Ana next. I think that's the next island. Is it? Yeah.
macOS Alcatraz.
I wish they were that cool.
And that's when they lock it up. They don't do side loading on that one. have to download
macOS
everything through the Mac App
Alcatraz is the only macOS you can jailbreak.
I gotta come up with a really nice wallpaper that's all like color gradient with the little prison.
macOS like Big Bear or something like that. I can see something big.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
Do you guys have any closing thoughts? We gotta move on here.
Yeah, we gotta talk about cool stuff now. Do I have do I have your predictions, Drew? I don't think I do. I don't think we do.
I don't what on what? Everything?
No, for Tuesday. Mike and I gave our synopsis. All I know is that you don't think
yeah.
you'd be surprised if it's over 40, but you haven't
He
said.
I think it'll be
Said-
20 to 30 minutes. And
You said 40 minutes earlier.
think
Okay, that's fine.
I said I'd be surprised if it's over 40.
Okay. So you say 20
And-
minutes.
20 to 30 most likely. Over 40 something went wrong.
You have to give a number, sir, but okay.
Sure. Well, we're all in different brackets. I mean, we don't have to get
You gave
down
20 to
the
30.
second.
I gave 90. Randy said over 45.
Like if it's 2 hours, Mike is right because he's the closest.
Yeah. Wait, what
If
did you say
it's-
for me, Mike?
45 or over 45.
At least 45. I think it'd be 45.
Mike's like, you're gonna make me hold this pencil correctly.
I wrote it down.
Write down.
You're not right. I wrote it down.
I
But
said
that's fine.
45 to an hour, closer to 45, I believe.
It did. It's
I think the 11-inch OLED iPad Pro will start at $11.99.
Holy.
Oh, so now you're
whoa.
changing it to 1200. Okay. You said 1100 before.
Yeah,
I don't
Drew.
think I ever gave mine.
You
I asked
agreed.
for both of
You
yours.
agreed with mine. I wrote it down as well, but that's
I
fine.
said that sounds reasonable.
Yeah,
I'm
and that's all you
predicting-
gave.
Drew, I will have the
No,
court.
that's now.
I will have the
now
court
he's asking.
scribe.
You guys never ask me about anything. I always gotta ask you everything.
Hey, first of all, Drew, I expect you to chime in with your opinions, and you just didn't. That's why I'm asking you now, because you
no,
never gave
I
it.
don't want to interrupt.
No,
I
I will have the court
think
scribe
yours is
read it.
reasonable.
Read the text back to you. Tell him, scribe.
I think Apple will be unreasonable. I think it'll be 256 gig starting,
Okay.
but I do think it'll start at 1200 and be very, very pricey because it's M4 and it's OLED and it's thin.
Yeah.
iPad Air will start at $899 for the 12.9 inch. That's my guess.
Okay.
No sources.
I think they'll keep it at the same price.
But the bigger one is new. There's no 12.9 inch
That's
Air.
crazy. If you're right about that, that is a significant price jump that I'm not okay with.
Everyone should just go buy a refurbished M1 iPad Pro.
Yeah, no, that is accurate. Yeah. Next week we will be playing a game with Drew. Mike is going to participate because we're going to have fun laughing
I
at
have
his
the number
expense.
every iPad OS generation.
I'm not going to tell you what the rules are, but if we had more time today, we would do it. But I'm going to throw you for a loop. And Mike is going to participate because we need
One
comic
infinite
relief about Apple history.
Okay.
I got a game for you, Drew. This was
Isn't
fun.
Apple enough? The comic relief? I'm going to lose, I can tell. Ratings much more competitive than I am.
I am, but I'm also making it fun and fair. And we are going to. I don't want to see you squirm too hard, but something that I know I'm going to be like, if I'm not looking at it, I would have gotten this wrong, most likely.
Oh, wow. So I have no hope. Just like iPad OS.
No, I think you'll do good. I'll be honest with you. I think it's not my wheelhouse; it's your wheelhouse, which is why I think you'll do better than me. And I want to be the one arbitrating it.
And speaking of wheels, we have to go.
We right there. Stop. We're done
Let's
right there.
roll.
We're done. Stop. Stop. Stop.